Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fiction. The podcast that revolves around one central theme, stories and the people that tell them. We'll talk about movies, TV shows, video games, historical events and weird news headlines. There's really no topic we won't touch. But it doesn't stop there. If you've got a story, something funny or random that may have happened to you or a friend, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. Until then, it's story time.
Did you miss out on buying that special loved one a birthday or Christmas present? Are you in the doghouse? Well, thankfully, here at Stories True and the Fictional, we've got you covered with a once-in-a-lifetime ode to Ryan L. Johnson, with such amazing stories like Ryan L. Johnson and J.J. Abrams. Do you like good plots and plans? I do not like them, J.J. I do not like good plots and plans. And for those spiritual, who can forget the haiku, Ryan and the summertime? Dampness summertime before killing sour stores, the Ryan Johnson. And who can forget that famous limerick, the old man? There once was an old man who walked. He liked bad plots and he squawked. His stories were shit. He claimed they were a hit, but he couldn't say no. What a dog. Order now and we will send to you this amazing book, as well as many more stories with, as we always promised, 30% more incest. Hello and welcome to 2023 and an exciting new year. Welcome to Stories, the True and the Fictional. I am one of your hosts. My name is Chris Park. I am, of course, joined by the man who says he likes teenage girls a little too much, J.A. Bryden. How are you going, sir?
Wow, I'm going very well, and there's no context in that at all. So I'm going to leave you guys wondering. That will be the soundbite that gets me cancelled in 10 years' time.
What's the difference between 18 and 19, Jamie? It's all relative.
18 and 19, well, they're both legal, but they still make me feel awkward.
But why do they make you feel awkward?
I don't. Maybe cultural stuff. I don't know.
Is it cultural or is it the fact that?
Well, I don't know. It's a bit of a system where they go, "Hey, adult, fair game."
Well, 18, yes, by 18, by all laws of this great land,
yeah, but it's
legal.
Well, because last year they weren't legal. I mean, it's a little. It's why I always had that rule. I don't get involved with anyone who's on their P's, on their P license, green P's, red P's. It's just to play it safe,
What happens if they were like 20 and they just didn't really drive and so they started late, then they got their red P's? Would you then
there's always
the law?
There's always an exception.
Okay. There's always an exception. What happens if she's an 18-year-old super hot Hispanic girl who's super into you, very mature for her age, but she's just turned 18? Would that be
too awkward?
Would you really? Ryan, do you agree on Jamie's stance here?
Not at all. I say, if anyone, as long as the midnight has ticked over on the 18th birthday, and you know what I'm saying. It's just, if they're into you, you're into them. Age is just a number, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. Well, we were obviously joined by R. Kelly apparently for some reason. Oh shit!
Hey, leaning right in.
We didn't say I'd pee on them. I said, what?
We're always, and once again, welcoming back to the 2023 podcast. A man who needs no introduction. The man who learned all of his romantic and sexual acts from his ducks. Ryan Haig, how are you going, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Going between R. Kelly and the corkscrew lights of a penis of a duck is a fantastic way to start off the new year. I highly recommend it.
I think that's the title of the episode.
Obviously, that's clearly the title.
Definitely get downloads.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yes, it's been a great start to the year so far. It's just plugging along, and unfortunately, unlike you two non-retailish people, I had to work through Christmas, but I still enjoyed a few days off. So can't complain about
That's
that.
the worst. That's the worst. Working through Christmas is the dumbest thing ever because I'm going to see who is really working at that point. It's all everyone's just showing. Everyone's just pretending.
No, well, it's retail. I mean, my last job was I had to do that for 3 years. I had to work through Christmas because people need to feed their animals. And
Well, I mean,
I could say I was, for the first time in my life, I could say I was in my heyday because I was selling hay.
and you say you can't get the 18 to 19-year-old girls, Jamie. You just pull that joke out.
Oh, no.
With that kind of sense of humor, they're lining up.
Yes,
Seriously,
they were.
You pull that joke out with some chloroform and some tape, and they're in the bag. Seriously.
Can I borrow your van, Ryan?
You can.
Does it still say free candy on it?
It does, but I've also because of the age we're living in, I've also put in Pokemon as well. So
and we've updated the times. Jamie's now
you got to catch them all, Jamie. You got to catch them all.
Jamie is now a famous TikTok producer, and so this is his new thing. This is his new play, his new game.
What, supporting teenagers or supporting the Chinese? I can't
either one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with either one. Both situations will probably end up the same.
Yeah.
Complete control of your life. So again, there's no, is there really any difference between the Chinese and a teenage girl at this point in terms of government control?
I think we just got a little bit too political there.
No. But did you see that video from the Babylon Bee I sent you today, Chris?
I did not.
I did not either.
It said
I haven't watched it yet.
It said 10 problems solved by government spending.
Oh.
And he stands there and he goes, number 1, and says nothing. And he goes, number 2, and he says it all the way. And
nice.
He goes, and the best one, number 10, and then nothing.
A man after my own heart. Again.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
If we could stop them spending and hunt them for sport, I think that I think we have a bit of again. I'm not saying the people in Mad Max had the right idea in terms of what type of leadership you need. But essentially, if you see a man riding, a souped-up motorcycle with a strange mask with dolls pruning his entire and essentially drinking liquid and burning it out, and on the back of his van there is a man swinging with an electric guitar shooting crossbow bolts, you have to respect that kind of man and say, you know what? Maybe I'll follow that guy for a while. Let's see what happens.
Are you telling me that this is what the government is trying to build?
A Mad Max style government?
Do you think they all sat down and went, let's create Mad Max?
It was their most successful film, so maybe they're trying to relive the glory years of Mad Max.
But maybe what you're saying there is a good point, Chris. What if you say whoever loses the election, whatever party loses the election, whoever in that campaign immediately goes onto an island where they get hunted for sport. So obviously you've got governments pulling out all the stock, but what you don't tell the government is after they finish their 4 to 8 year tenure, the government that's been in power for that long then gets sent to that island and gets hunted for sport. So that way we always get a fresh supply of government, new ideas, and they've got to fight harder so they don't die.
See, on that idea, I think we take the Japanese Battle Royale or Fortnite approach, where everyone that wants to become prime minister gets sent to an island with a random bag with a random weapon in it, and then basically the last one to walk out of the island is then declared prime minister.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay. Honestly, I don't think we'd get any worse, to be honest.
No, not really. Because if you look at ScoMo at the moment, I don't think that man's ever ran more than from a Carter or McDonald's in his life.
The person who would win that challenge would be fit,
have
great people skills to build an alliance, but then also know when to betray those individuals.
So essentially, if for those of you who don't know what Battle Royale is, it's basically Survivor with weapons, fight to the death.
Yep, and each bag they each get a bag, and each in the
Yep.
bag is a random weapon. Some of them are
Yep.
good, some of them are terrible. That's the hilarity. You don't know what's inside the bag. And to make it fair, every single time the map every single day the map shrinks, and so essentially you can't just hide out through the entire thing. You would want to build alliances with people who have greater weapons than you, obviously, but then eventually there's only one survivor, so you will have to eventually betray every single one you know and love. Again, this will be I think this is how we'd solve governmental problems.
I agree. I think
Battle
that would be
Royale.
a solid. Exactly. Because then you know what? I feel like if they win, they've earned it.
They've
taken 12 other lives.
You know what? You really want it. Like you really wanted that government job. Like you.
And
really
you also
wanted
know that person's going to have the balls to do what needs to be done. Because hey, if they wanted this role so much that they killed 12 other contestants, they'll have no problem pushing that button when it comes to World War III.
Now, to really spice it up, we'll make sure that they send, like, in each group, make sure that their partners and wives also go as well.
Oh, definitely.
Because you want to make sure that the person knows, some level of betrayal is required.
Oh, 100%. 100%. We don't want a Joe Biden experience where he's probably going to die before he gets off the plane. We want incentive. We want a show, damn it.
That's right. And obviously it's going to be televised, sponsored by...
Oh, definitely.
And obviously... This thing will be sponsored by our lovely sponsor, Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series, available now on Amazon. Do you like Hunger Games? Do you like Battles to the Death? Maybe you also like werewolf romance novels. And if you do, please go over and help our amazing sponsor, Rebecca Cassells' Rising Dawn. She will also be working on the short story anthology about Henry Cavill and Kat Graham. I believe she's starting this year. We're extremely excited about that. I believe we're doing an Audible version as well, where I will lend my voice as well as all those podcasts, as well as I believe Rebecca Cassells will be doing the voice of Kat Graham, or trying her best anyway. And I believe we'll have a hit on our hands. We're still trying to lock down the best story for that, which I tend to believe long lost lovers potentially, or maybe she's the babysitter, he lost his wife recently kind of scenario, but he's a young daughter. Various different scenarios like that, we believe.
Possibly, he's a stepfather. She gets stuck in the washing machine, and
that's also
comedy
a good
ensues.
That's also a good way to do it. Or she turns up in his doorstep and says, "You might be my father."
Oh, might. He hears that word "might," and that's all
exactly. He hears that word "might" and be like, "Well, maybe not."
And honestly, if I know Rebecca Cassells like I know Rebecca Cassells, she would not be opposed to any of these scenarios.
Well, you do know the saying, right? If you don't know who your father is, anyone could be your sister.
I've not heard that saying, but I do enjoy that.
Yeah. Chris is familiar with the phrase, if you don't know who your father is, anyone could be your stepsister.
Ah, yes, I'm familiar with
see, the word step, it makes it safe for Chris. That's his safety net.
A safety net. It's also a safety net on all the hubs and everything to make sure that they're not promoting anything illegal. You put the step word in front of it, and it's all like, well, I mean, it's not technically illegal, probably.
Oh God. So, what have we been watching this week?
All right, we'll start with you, Ryan.
What have you been watching?
I've actually been watching a fair bit, working from home this week, because Christmas and everything. So I'll start off with a TV show I watched on Stan called Black Snow, and this stars Aussie actor Travis, from a lot of people are familiar with from Vikings. He was Ragnar. A lot of the ladies and my fellow people find him quite attractive. Look, basically, it's a story. It's an Australian show. It is set up to a young girl's murdered in 1994 after her and her schoolmates make a time capsule. We cut to 25 years later. They open the time capsule and there's a clue to who possibly murdered her. And then this detective from Queensland comes to the small town and investigates. And obviously it's a one that keeps you guessing all the way through. I managed to watch it. It's 6 episodes. I watched it in a day because I couldn't stop. Fantastic act. A lot of Australian actors, Rob Carlton, Brooke Satchwell, Kim Gingell, a lot of. I thought it was really, really well done. I only dropped on Stan, I think, on the 4th of January. So
I keep forgetting that he's Australian.
yeah, I know. In this
Like-
show, you won't though, because he's got the most boganest accent, which is fine because he's supposed to be from far north Queensland. So
But I mean, like, you saw in Vikings, he's got that sort of like
Yep.
fake Nordic accent, and then you see him in
Yep.
like in a World of Warcraft movie where he does
Yep.
the same accent as as the leader of the Alliance, and then that seems quite a step back from his career to go from these sort of big things to an Australian film. I guess returning to one's roots, I guess, would you say?
exactly, and I think he made quite a bit of money from Viking. All finished up, he pretty much not quite as big as the Daniel Radcliffe effect, but I think he had enough money to sort of do a few passion projects
Sure.
in between some big stuff.
And
But yeah, look,
help out the Australian film industry as
And-
much as you can.
with you, anything Australian I'll give a go, but I was hooked. It was probably the best Australian miniseries or series one, and it leaves it right open for a season 2 at the end. So that was the TV show I watched. I've been taking a step back into history, watching the Aliens movies at the moment. I managed to pick up the first one in 4K from Amazon at Boxing Day sale and decided to venture on in that. So that's been quite good because they're all on Disney Plus. But yeah, the movie I really want to recommend to everyone, which I was talking to the guys before we started recording, is a movie called The Menu. It's with Ray Fiennes, Nicholas Hoult, and that Chris knows the name of that girl. I don't remember her name.
Anya Joy
but yeah,
Taylor, yes.
yeah. So basically, these 12 couples get to pick. They go to a remote island. They pay a shitload of money for dinner with a famous chef, and things start to go awry. I'm not going to go into too much more detail because I don't want to spoil it, but probably one of the best thrillers I've seen in a very, very long time. That's on Disney Plus also. So yeah,
Interesting.
that's what I've been
It
watching
sounds
this
like
week.
something worth checking out. It's good to see you finally enjoy some of the Alien films. Obviously, you'll see a fairly significant drop off from 1 and 2 in terms of quality. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if anyone. I don't know if there's anyone out there that's going, why? The third one has its charms. I don't think that's. I don't know if there's a.
The third one I felt was more like a horror movie than a sci-fi movie because obviously you're stuck in the prison world. I'm not to say, but it was more. The first 2 I felt were more sci-fi. Obviously, a lot more space work. You know, I will say number 2 is probably my favorite because I've seen it the most.
Obviously, I think
can't
that's
go past
everyone's. I
Bill.
think it's everyone's favorite.
Yeah. Well, you can't go past Bill Paxton's. We're all gonna die, man. That's the
Game
damn
over, man.
Game over, man. It's just permanently engraved in my head. But look, I enjoyed the first 3. I've been told not to watch Resurrection, the Winona Ryder, Sigourney Weaver one. So
Yep.
I think I might skip over that and jump straight into Prometheus.
Hang on a minute. No, I'm not even going to try to justify like the. Well, hang on now.
Well, I mean, the number 3 ended in such a great way, and yes, I will give spoilers to a 25-year-old movie, you know, with Ripley dying at the end, and I thought, okay, we're done. You know, we don't need any more. But then we have to clone her and bring her back, and you know, I've never seen it, but from what I've been told, it was just a money grab, and it just
So she doesn't come back and voice a baby alien.
No, she does not come back and voice a 16-year-old. Hi, Mom. Oh, Dad. You don't know what it's like to be a teenager, nor have I for the last 60 years of my life.
But yeah,
that is the
think I'll
manliest teenager you'll ever hear. There's a good solid.
I don't think I'll be venturing into Alien Resurrection. I'll probably just go straight into Prometheus and Covenant. Thank you.
Smart, but worthwhile seeing them. What about you, J.A.?
Look, I haven't, watched too much, but I'm continuing my journey through Stargate SG-1. I'm getting ever so close to that dreaded season that we all know, where our beloved Daniel Jackson goes, you know what? I'm not going to be in this season.
You're only up to there?
Yeah, I'm back at work now, man. I've been playing a shitload of FIFA.
That's true. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I've noticed that. Have you managed to unlock Ted Lasso's?
Oh, I haven't even looked for him yet. I'm playing.
No.
I'm playing career mode and just as a player, so I haven't even gone looking
Oh,
for
okay,
Ted Lasso
okay.
yet.
So they
but
have a career mode where you can just pick a player rather than a team.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can make your own
For a
player.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, you create your player and
Okay.
it's like a RPG. You know, you level up your skills
Wow. Okay.
and all that. Yeah, it's
The
pretty cool.
football RPG.
I'm 90.
Wow.
I'm ranked 95 now, but I can't freaking beat Barcelona.
Well, of course, they're Barcelona.
I know. I'm just going like this. It's like I got to the end of the game and he goes, "Okay, do you know how much percentage of the ball you had? 20%."
Yeah, that team enjoys a good. That team, Spanish teams enjoy passing. If you've not noticed.
Yeah, and I'm just going like to the point where I just go, "Screw it," slide tackle up the back of them, and then they go penalty, and then it's like boom, straight. You're like, oh,
Welcome to the fun of Barcelona football.
yeah. But yeah, no, like Stargate, huge fan. We all know, but plowing my way through that. Started watching an old show called Hawaii Five-0. But
Nice.
the new show, not the new version,
Yeah.
not the
Daniel Kim, I think the
Grace
the guy,
Park.
yeah.
Who doesn't enjoy
yeah,
that?
it's not bad. And in the very first episode, it had Spike from Buffy.
Oh, James Masters.
James Masters, yeah.
And who was he playing alongside?
Who was that?
Oh, is it Daryl from The Walking Dead?
Oh, Norman Reedus.
Yeah. Both of them, they played brothers.
Oh wow.
And then in the second one comes the bad guy from John Wick. You know the guy the guy who always plays a Russian. I think it's John Wick 2 he's in.
The guy who's always the Russian guy.
Yeah. Always a Russian. I think he's actually French, and he always plays like a Serbian or Russian terrorist.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
The guy who's literally like, we need a Russian actor. Let's get this guy.
Yeah.
He's like the Russian Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
But I think but to James' point, I don't think he's actually Russian. He's like Swedish or something.
No, he's like French. I think he's French.
Yeah.
It's like nowhere near it. He was like,
yeah.
Is it good?
It's not bad. It's but I've only watched 2 episodes. Because I've been looking for something, like that. But it's been
Peter
been on a while.
Stormare.
Yeah,
he is Swedish.
Swedish. There you go. So the least terrorist kind of person. Like, hello, come to my place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's I don't think he's ever not playing some sort of Russian bad guy.
Yeah. Even in he was in Jurassic Park Lost World, the second one. He's in that. He's the dude that gets eaten by all the compies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I got turned around in here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but he's in an episode too. But I think it's the kind of show that all these people are just going to pop up in.
Yeah.
Like every CW show, all the actors just hop around. But apart from that, and I think this might lead into what Chris has been watching. We watched Pele on the Pele movie on New Year's Eve, and I think I've talked about it on the show before. But Chris, what was your thoughts of Pele?
That was one of, if not the great, that was a fantastic film. Well, way better than I ever thought it would be. And clearly the person who wrote this movie or directed it had watched a shit ton of Demon Slayer anime prior to filming it. Because there were scenes where Pele would pause, the camera would spin around him. All I was expecting him to basically take a deep breath and be like, total concentration breathing form. Because he then does a special move. I'm going like, okay, this is an anime. Yeah. It was awesome, but then it was also as Jamie would say, it's also the fantastic hero's journey tale between coming of age, refusing the call, saying no, he's going to spend his life as an accountant or whatever his mother was wanting him to do, His dad teaching him through an unconventional method of picking fruit to practice his honing his skills, using this new style of football, the Zika style, which was based on a martial art. It was everything you'd want in an anime, but just in a football film.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember watching it for the first time and I was going like, all I could think about is Chris is going to lose it over this movie. And I'd sit there and I'd kind of promptly go, what does this need, Chris? Like, what does the hero do? And then you'd say what it needs, and then next thing you know, it's like, refuse the call, and then it's and then it's like, oh, he's about to quit. What happens to prevent someone from quitting? Oh, the mentor. Here comes the mentor.
Yep. That's right. Like every single time someone quits, the mentor has to then sit down and step up and give them those sage words of wisdom.
Yeah.
As he was leaving, going, I'm not gonna play anymore. I can't do this. And as he was at the train station, the random mentor appeared and be like going, no, you must.
And he tells him an old story, like of the,
and exactly tells him the historical story that will then inspire him, and then also, because it's also an anime, clearly, the story he tells him plays an important part to his victory later on in the movie, as he recalls that story to win. It is literally everything he'd want in an anime, but it just wasn't an anime. It was.
Yeah.
So basically, I have a question, Chris. Does he have blue hair when he was a small child?
Look, if this was an anime, he would have absolutely been a blue-haired small child.
Okay.
No, but it was a barefooted poor child from Brazil. It had to be somewhat real, right?
Yeah, of course.
They had to put something realistic into it, or else
Yeah, but it had Vincent. How do you say
D'Orfno?
Yeah,
D'Orfno?
yeah, he was in it as a Brazilian coach. I thought it was fantastic.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
well worth checking out. Hilariously good movie, surprisingly good. Was shocked and surprised as I said before. But yes, so Jamie's correct. That was one of the things I enjoyed watching. I also enjoyed watching. I'm much more ahead of Jamie and Stargate. I'm up to season 9 on SG1, and I'm actually up to season 4 of Atlantis because I've taken a pause from SG1 to catch up on Atlantis, and I'm actually almost finished Atlantis. I'm on season 4 now.
So what was it like revisiting Jason Momoa's first time in Atlantis? When he was
it was sensational. He's improved acting quite a bit since those days. I'll just say that. He wasn't terrible as an actor by no stretch of the imaginations, but I wouldn't say he has a great deal of character depth and range.
Yeah. Well, I think they wanted another Tilk.
He basically was another Teal'c, yes. I mean that's. But again,
are you saying that with bigger muscles comes better acting skills?
Clearly. I think that's what everyone in Hollywood believes, based upon what we've seen from the Hollywood actors. This must be the case, that bigger muscles equals better acting.
Yeah,
they seem to almost exclusively believe in this philosophy. To a fault, that seems to be exactly what they're doing. They're saying, if my muscles are bigger, my acting skill increases, because it's and maybe, and who's to say it doesn't? Who's to say bigger muscles doesn't equal better acting? And we can ask our friend The Rock, but he'll say he's natural, so he won't tell us the truth.
Ooh, and he's in hot water at the moment, apparently.
As I said, I'm really starting to run out of reasons to defend him. I've just stopped.
Didn't you hear, Chris? He apparently he went over the executives at Warner Brothers, went straight to the CEO.
The CEO
to try and save Black Adam.
That's not what you should do in any scenario.
No,
if you want to maintain your job, people don't like being cut out, specifically if they're like executives with probably rightfully so, or not very rightfully so, potentially flimsy egos, being skipped over by an actor. Yeah, that's not going to go well for anyone involved.
I think we're witnessing the Icarus of The Rock.
He's flown too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Now, if it's the Icarus of the,
said, I'm starting to go a bit off him too, because I can't keep like I haven't literally at the moment. I have nothing, no reason to defend him.
Yeah.
No. I'm like that. What he did with, I mean, the lying about the box office.
That was awesome.
But then, like, when I heard about the going straight, I was like, that is just a true ego move. That is just like, I'm The Rock. I don't have to deal with executives. I deal with CEOs. And I'm like, come on, bro.
You're an actor, just like any other actor.
Yeah.
They got to pay their
Yeah.
dues. It's all about
Yeah.
in a town as old as Hollywood. It's all about paying your dues, and if you don't do that, they will, they make you. It's very clear if you don't pay your dues enough, they will they'll punish you in some way, shape, or form.
Yep. Well, I mean, look at if Warner Brothers and DC are willing to get rid of Henry Cavill as Superman, like who does The Rock think he like?
They seem to be
you know what I
like,
mean?
if they even more so if they're willing to get rid of if they're willing to sort of say goodbye to Gal Gadot, which I thought was like if they're saying goodbye to Gal Gadot, who are you, Henry Cavill? Even more so, The Rock. Who are you, The Rock? That's gonna if they're willing to say goodbye to Gal.
The Rock who's been in one movie, who refused to cameo. It's come out. He's refused to cameo in Shazam, which is complete and utter rubbish. Not saying it's not true. I think he should have done that because there. Without saying that, there is no Shazam Black Adam, and I think in his old age, his ego is just getting a little bit too big.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all the steroids he's been taking.
It could be.
Diminishing his brain.
They're diminishing his brain and his testicles, but giving him a massive physique for almost 50 or over 50-year-old male.
All 50-year-old males look like that, Ryan. That's nothing.
100%.
Nothing wrong.
That's what I'm gonna magically in 9 years when I turn 50, I'm immediately gonna look like that. So
well, hey, if you get an acting job, guarantee you they can make you look like they can get you to that level. all you need is one good acting gig, and they'll get you into shape. Don't you worry about that. They'll get you.
Definitely.
They'll get you into shape. But apart from Stargate, I don't think I have been watching anything else because again that takes up a lot of time to get through this. Well, as I was on break from work to try to get through what amounts to like 4 seasons of television thus far. Now I've managed to burn through. And the good thing about Atlantis, I haven't only watched it like once when like if there was original run. So a lot of these episodes are actually new to me. So I'm actually going, oh, like I didn't know a lot of the plot points on some of these episodes. And I don't think I watched season 5 of Atlantis because I just basically at the time I just stopped watching it.
Yeah, no.
So when I come to season 5, which is shortly, it'll be all brand new. It'll be a brand new experience.
Just remember, season 5 is the SG1's finished. We need these people to go somewhere.
Oh no, like Samantha Card is currently now head of Atlantis, which makes no sense whatsoever. But obviously, SG1 hadn't finished, and so the actors were just sitting around, and so they just moved them somewhere.
No, I think they still had contracts, so they just sent them there because they were expecting Stargate to keep going, but then it
didn't.
No, it didn't. So they're like, well, you still have your contracts. You better go over to Atlantis.
Head over to Atlantis. Oh well, look, it's still a good show, still memorable, good villain.
Have you watched the fight between Ronan and Tilk yet? Has that come up yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was very much a fight to appease both fan groups, to not show a winner. Where it was basically saying, "Oh, who would have won? Oh, I don't know." It's like we all know who would have won that fight. Like,
I mean, isn't Ronan beating up like
160-year-old man? Yeah. At that point, it's like going, "Oh yeah, wow, Ronan, you're so powerful, beating up 160-year-old man. Congratulations on your strength and your power." And remember that. Right there, Teal'c. That's the God of War. So he might just be like, "Enough, boy." And...
no, I would have loved to see him just go, "Rah!"
Yeah. Spartan rage out and just. But then if on that same vein, Jason Momoa can then just call the Atlan's trident and transform himself. Da, da, da,
You have
da, 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 da. And that would be okay. You know what?
you have no idea how much I want that.
Okay. All right. Who would win in a fight? Kratos or Aquaman?
Peter Aquaman.
Peter Aquaman, attorney at law. Peter Aquaman, attorney at law.
It's tough because you can't. Sometimes you just can't question Kratos's resolve.
But what happens if it was in water, though?
Oh no! Like if he was swimming in water, then he's gone.
Yeah, because Kratos is not exactly a. Kratos doesn't swim. You're right.
Even if Kratos could swim, Aquaman's in the water.
That's a fair point. On land, though, you probably would give it to Kratos. Absolutely, I think that's a fair. Yeah. I think that'd be a fair assessment. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, it's a hard one. I mean, you've got to look at record of kills. You know, I mean, going all the way back, he's pretty much taken out all the Greek gods. He's then come over to the Norse mythology.
Yep.
At the end of Ragnarok, he's taken out all of them as well.
Yep.
So, I mean,
he's
Aquaman's impressive though, but.
So what you're saying is Kratos is the gore we needed. Oh.
Well, honestly, like I would give it to Kratos because he doesn't necessarily have the really good moral compass. If someone is in his way and is causing damage, he will kill them straight out.
Valid point there.
So I think he would have that edge, whereas Aquaman would probably look for a more, not necessarily a really peaceful method, but I don't think he would resort to a fight to the death like we've seen with when he was fighting Orm in the first one. He had the perfect opportunity and he said, no, I'm going to. Whereas Kratos would be like, you're in my way. And let's say Kratos has already beaten Poseidon and killed Poseidon in God of War 3.
Sure, that is true.
So I mean, if there's ever a comparison between Aquaman, it's going to be Poseidon, the god of the sea.
That's a valid point.
I'm going to give it to Kratos. If it's on, if it's in water, I'm not necessarily going to say it goes to Aquaman. I'm going to say it's going to be a really tough fight. But on land, Kratos hands down.
Yep. I think that's a fair assessment. And we haven't asked you this, right? But I do want to get your thoughts. Obviously they've announced that they're going to do a God of War series.
Yeah.
Who would you cast apart from Henry Cavill? Obviously, that's the dream. Who would you cast as God of War? Who would you cast as Kratos?
That's a good one. So you got to be logistical too, because you want someone who's young but not that young, because you want it to go on for quite a while too.
Yeah, and that's what probably rules out Christopher Judge, because he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
Look,
and you know what? I found out the other day that and unfortunately he can't do it because he's no longer with us, but Shad Gaspard did all the mocap for the fighting scenes in the 2018 or 2017. Yep. He was a wrestler for WWE, and you can see his body when I found that out. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see it, but he's no longer with us. That's a really good question. It needs to be someone quite menacing, and you've got to be able to pull off that. And again, it depends on what era we're talking to. Because I'm one of the few people who has not only played God of War 1, 2, 3 and the new ones, I've actually played the PlayStation Plus version, which go into his youth with his brother Demos.
Yes, the Origins versions.
Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus. So they actually talk about his brother, which he does mention in the two new games. I honestly, I can't. I'm being brutally honest. I can't think of anyone that I would put in the role.
It's a tough role.
I'm trying to in terms of looks, I would have said Jason Momoa if he was willing to shave his head. He's got that look. He's got the body, but at the same time, obviously he's got a lot of other commitments too. So
But maybe not anymore. That's the thing.
yeah, possibly.
So
Although
if-
they are eyeing him for a possible role with Lobo, but I mean, who knows if that's going to come to fruition?
Yeah.
but
Uh,
I think Jason Momoa would do a fantastic job. I think that's
he's about the right age.
right
where he could-
age, right
yeah,
size.
he could play him for a good 5 or 6 years. You know,
Mm.
I just can't think of anyone else.
But would you
One thing-
would you be willing to take Jason Momoa, but he doesn't want to shave his dreadlocks?
No. No.
Having said that, even though historically Spartans did have dreadlocks, so that was actually
True.
that's a traditional hairstyle they had, and they used
Look,
to wear.
if I'm the director and I'm the writer, I'm saying the hair's coming off, or you don't have the role.
Oh,
How about the Superman Henry Cavill Mo remove?
No.
No.
CGI off.
no.
If we've got Amazon money, we don't need to worry about that shit.
I don't know. We've seen the difference between Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power costumes.
But
But that
It's-
not necessarily is not to do
but
with
it's
a
on.
lack of
It's
funds.
it's going to be put on Amazon, but it's still made by Sony Pictures. So that's the.
Oh,
that's the-
okay.
That's the.
Alright.
That's I think.
No, look, I'm saying if Momoa wants a role and he's passionate about it, he's got to lose the hair.
Got to give to the role.
David Bautista's another one that I think could potentially.
It's only if it's a serious role though, because remember that's what he's.
But in saying that, Jamie, I know we've mostly just seen him as Drax, but I'm going to be watching these over the weekend, and I know you guys will detest it because it is by Ryan Johnson. The
Knives
Knives Out and Glass Onion, apparently he does some really amazing work in those movies.
I actually watched Knives Out the other day.
You're
Okay.
you traitor.
I want to watch it because I
Look,
want to watch Glass Onion.
Dude, I'll put it this way: the cast is it's fantastic, but it's a little cliche for me. Like, I mean, I could see it coming, kind of, you know.
But you
But
got to
there's
remember
twists.
also Ryan Johnson gave us Looper as well. Like,
Yeah, but I haven't watched that since he destroyed Star Wars.
Same.
I am
That's
literally.
it.
I
Yeah.
want it
So
to
you-
live
so-
on in
so
my
you're-
memory.
So you're saying that in Knives Out he didn't try to subvert everyone's expectations?
Maybe he tried, but because I know it's Ryan Johnson, I just saw it coming. You know?
but also Batista's in the new M. Night Shyamalan Bing Bang movie too. That's coming out. The
I've been
Knock in the
meaning to-
Cabin, which
I mean, the thing about M. Night is he
Is he
directs.
shit?
No. Okay, look. Yes, but he directs trailers brilliantly. He creates ideas that make you go, that looks interesting. But then you got to go, no. You have to tell yourself to go, no.
Which is not a very good sign
No.
when someone's trying to make a movie. If you're constantly going like, well, no.
Yeah. No, well, his ideas are good. His trailers are good. His execution isn't for 95% of the time.
Yes, who needs that thing? Who needs pesky thing like execution? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's just how I say it.
But look, I'd sign on for Batista, but I need to see more range, and that's why I'm going to be watching the Knives Out and Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Apparently, his range is because all we've really seen him in is, to be honest, you know what I mean?
And Blade Runner 20
Sorry,
Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner. He's in that
I haven't
too.
seen that. I saw him in Dune, but that's again, it's kind of mindless role.
In June he was the mindless warrior. He
Yeah.
was like that, like.
So I want to see some more range before I say yes.
But you're right. He's not going to cut his hair because Jason Momoa was Duncan Idaho, meant to be like this, stand-up Legion man who had massive dreadlocks, and it's like going like, oh, that's weird. But yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's not gonna lose the dreadlocks.
No.
I think you're right on that one.
Yeah.
But I can't see anyone else at this time.
That's a tough role.
I'm just trying to rack my brain thinking, but
it's a tough
Yeah.
because I don't know why I don't know even why they're doing it. It's just like you're destined to fail. I have no idea why you're like.
Well, look, we might get an unknown and we might get really surprised. You never know.
We'll see. We'll see. It just seems like something that's destined to fail or could fail at many different junctions.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you doing something where you have a high failure chance?
Yeah.
But I don't.
But look, at the end of the day, I think we go into it just going, okay, let's just check it out, not with high hopes.
Yeah.
Like we did with Lord of the Rings. And if it might surprise us, and look, if it doesn't, we've always got the games.
Yeah, no, look, you're right. We will always have the games. We will always have those amazing high quality games. You're right.
Yeah.
100%.
So shall we move on to our topic at hand?
Oh yeah, we're only about an hour in, so
Sure, yeah, we've already been an hour.
So
in.
Ryan, you haven't been on a few episodes.
Yep.
We just tend to just go.
This is the norm.
Okay.
This is the norm. This is the norm.
We need to figure out how to speed that up. Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
No, we don't. Until people start talking to us and commenting on our show and.
So we're going with the punishment act now.
Yeah. No, well that's
until you talk to us, we will talk.
Yeah. No, we'll keep doing what we're doing until you tell us otherwise. We're getting lots of downloads, but people just don't like to talk to us. It's been a long time since someone's actually sent a story in. So if you guys have a story, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com and we will read it out on the show. But until then,
Jamie, you lead us into this glorious
so
event.
we've traced there's two people we mention every episode. For some reason, it's impossible not to, but we've traced it back to our sponsor, Rebecca Cassells, in the Rising Dawn series. When she was on the very first episode of Story Chat, she mentioned that her character in her book was modeled off Henry Cavill, the protagonist of the Rising Dawn series. Damien, I believe his name is.
Yep.
He is modeled off Henry Cavill. That's a wonderful thing. And then Chris got on board on the show and he just started mentioning Cat Graham. Just
of course.
Cat Graham. And then so we merged these two worlds of Henry Cavill and Cat Graham. And we love these two people for obvious reasons. And so we decided to create stories via a website called plotgenerator.org.uk and generate stories involving Henry Cavill and Cat Graham. Now they're short, they're obviously short stories. And we've all created one or two, and we're going to just read them out and entertain you with Henry Cavill and Cat Graham. So, who wants to go first?
Ryan, I believe you said you had an absolute humdinger.
Oh, yeah. And I would like to dedicate mine to Rebecca Cassells. Because I'm pretty sure she's going to like this one.
All right.
I'm even reading it on my iPad, so it's got an old-timey book.
So just before you get started, I just want to give people an idea about this generator. Basically, you enter your protagonist name, scenario. Well, they kind of pick the scenario, but like event, like settings and keywords and phrases, and you just fill it all out, and then it generates something for you. So we didn't write every single word, but we may have influenced the generator in a certain way. So,
well, no, because I thought I mostly just hit random on purpose. Like I mostly just I put the names of the characters I wanted there. And then I just hit random as much as possible, just so I can give it that flavor.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I didn't do that at all.
With and with that in mind, Ryan, please take it away. Please begin with the title of your story, and then take it away.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Let me tell you a story. This story is called Proud Henry Cavill. It is a short story by Ryan D. Haig. And let me take you to the lovely world of Neverwinter. Henry Cavill had always loved beautiful Neverwinter. With its talented, tame rivers, it was a place where he felt happy. He was a proud, malicious wine drinker with chubby legs and tall thighs. His friends saw him as a homely, hissing hero. Once, he had even helped a breakable kitten recover from a flying accident. That's the sort of man he was. Henry walked over to the window and reflected on his eerie surroundings. The snow flurried like talking foxes. Henry gulped. He was not prepared for Ryan. As Henry stepped outside and Ryan came closer, he could see a fragile glint in his eye. I am here because I want a hug, Ryan exclaimed in a smart tone. He slammed his fist against Henry Cavill's chest with the force of 9,428 bears. I freaking love you, Henry Cavill. Henry looked back, and still fingering the ripped guillotine, apparently. Ryan, I love you, he replied. They looked at each other with erect, like two tasty, thoughtless tortoises singing at a very vile funeral, which had piano music playing in the background, and two violent uncles smiling to the beat. Suddenly, Ryan lunged forward and tried to punch Henry in the face. I don't know why, but the story. Quickly, Henry grabbed the ripped guillotine and brought it down on Ryan's skull. Ryan's brown legs trembled and his spiky thighs wobbled. He looked angry. His body roared like a raspy, rough rock. Then he let out an agonizing groan and collapsed to the ground. Moments later, Ryan was dead. Henry Cavill went back inside, made himself a nice glass of wine. The end. Now, I've already gotten rave reviews. Okay, this is from the Daily Tale. I feel like I know Henry Cavill in a way. It feels like I've always known him. Enid Kibler from Massachusetts. About as enjoyable as being hailed on while taking in what being targeted by seagulls with the squirts. A magazine called Hit the Spoof said, saying the snow flurried like talking foxes is just the kind of literary device that makes this brilliant. And finally, Zoop from London, England said, I could do better. And that is the tale of Henry and Ryan.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Outstanding.
Outstanding.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, Chris, I believe you have a children's book to read us.
I don't want to do that one. Maybe that. Okay, let's do the
pick one.
Pick one. Children's book's a bit long.
Okay.
So the children book. Look. Yeah, it's really long, so I won't do the children.
Don't do that. We'll pick your favorite.
The children's book, I will tell you, the children's book was called Cat Graham and the Three Wise Henry Cavills. And it was started once upon a time there was a hot girl named Cat Graham, and it goes on from there. Yeah. Who had a brother named Jamie Graham and then a teddy bear named Ryan the Hippo. All of this was randomly generated, by the way. I did not make you. Sure. Yeah. All right. Let me just try to find one that's.
What's the one that you laughed the loudest at?
Okay. Yeah. All right. The story is called "A Wild Cat Graham."
Ooh.
Oh my.
Cat Graham was thinking about Henry Cavill again. Ooh. Henry was an optimistic knight with beautiful eyes and ample legs. I didn't know what eggs and ample, but yeah. Cat walked over to the window and reflected on her sunny surrounding. She had always hated this cozy hostel with its tender, tense thumbtail. It was a place that encouraged her tendency to feel irritable. She then saw something in the distance, or rather someone. It was an optimistic figure of Henry Cavill. Cat gulped. She glanced at her own reflection. She was a wild, delightful tea drinker with curvy eyes and skinny legs. Her friends saw her as a damaged, damp doctor.
The damaged, damp doctor.
She had even once helped an ancient blind person cross the road.
Oh.
Not even a wild person who had once helped an ancient blind person cross the road was prepared for what Henry had in store today. The wind blew like a hopping tortoise, making Cat surprised. Cat grabbed a tattered book that had been strewn nearby. She massaged it with her fingers. Cat stepped outside, and Henry came closer. She could see he had an immense glint in his eye. Henry gazed with the affection of 7,165 virtuous chubby cats. He said in hushed tones, "I love you. I want your love." Cat looked back, even more surprised, still fingering the tattered book. "Henry, you're my father," she replied. They looked at each other.
No, this wasn't going here.
They looked at each other with arousing feelings, like two encompassing, delicious dogs laughing at a very giving christening, which had a piano music playing in the background and two malicious uncles partying to the beat. Suddenly, Henry lunged forward and punched Cat in the face.
What?
Quickly, Cat grabbed the tattered book and brought it down on Henry's skull. Henry's beautiful eyes trembled and his ample legs wobbled. He looked worried. His emotions roar like putrid ponged piano. He then let the agonizing groan collapse onto the ground. Moments later, Henry Cavill was dead. Cat Graham went back inside and made herself a nice cup of tea. The end.
I like how we both went with the violent end. And of course, you had to have some implied incest.
Implied incest.
Yeah. Wonderful. Look. Mine's very silly. Like you can see the pattern that the short stories. So I just sent you a link to this. I did the movie generator.
Mm-hmm.
I sent it through to you.
Yep.
So we can all read it
yes.
together. Chris, because you love Cat Graham so much, do you want you can read the cat part?
Fantastic.
I will read the Henry part, and Ryan will read the third character, which he may not.
Okay. I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Just give me a second. And yes, this may be a little political, just sort of. It features a politician. All right, so this is a screenplay. It's called Tyrannical Bogan.
Outstanding.
Internal Sydney Opera House, afternoon. Handsome actor Henry Cavill is arguing with stunning actress Cat Graham. Henry tries to hug Cat, but she shakes him off. "Please, Cat, don't leave me."
"I'm sorry, Henry. I'm looking for someone a bit more brave. Someone who faces his fears head on instead of running away."
"I am such a person." Cat frowns.
"I'm sorry, Henry. I just don't feel excited by this relationship anymore."
Cat leaves. Henry sits down, looking defeated. Moments later, invincible actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson barges in, looking flustered. "Goodness, The Rock, is everything okay?"
I'm afraid not.
"What is it? Don't keep me in suspense."
It's a bogan. I saw an evil bogan mocking a bunch of Twitter employees.
Defenseless Twitter employees?
Yes, defenseless Twitter employees.
Bloomin' heck, The Rock. We've got to do something.
I agree, but I wouldn't know where to start.
You can start by telling me where this happened. The Rock fans himself and begins to wheeze. Focus, The Rock. Focus. Where did it happen?
A library. That's right, a library.
Henry springs up and begins to run. External, a road. Continuous. Henry rushes along the street, followed by The Rock. They take a shortcut through some back gardens, jumping fences along the way. Internal, a library. Shortly after. Chris, do you want to take the tyrannical bogan? Dan Andrews, a tyrannical bogan, terrorizes two Twitter employees. Henry, closely followed by The Rock, rushes towards Dan, but suddenly stops in his tracks.
What is it? What's the matter?
That's not just any old bogan. That's Dan Andrews.
Who's Dan Andrews?
Who's Dan Andrews? Who's Dan Andrews? Only the most tyrannical bogan in the universe.
Blink and Knickers, Henry. We're gonna need if we're gonna stop the most tyrannical bogan in the universe.
You can say that again.
Blink and Nickers, Henry. We're gonna need some help if we're gonna stop the most tyrannical bogan in the universe.
I'm going to need good grammar. Lots of good grammar. Dan turns and sees Henry and the Rock. He grins an evil grin.
Henry Cavill. We meet again.
Matt?
Yes, it was a long time ago. External, a park, back in time. A young Henry is sitting in a park listening to some Bon Jovi music when suddenly a dark shadow casts over him. He looks up and sees Dan. He takes off his headphones.
Would you like some roll-ups?
Henry's eyes light up, but he studies Dan more closely and looks uneasy. I don't know. You look kind of tyrannical.
Me? No, I'm not tyrannical. I'm the least tyrannical bogan in the world.
Wait, you're a bogan? Henry runs away screaming. Internal, library, present day.
You were a coward then, and you're a coward now.
You ran away?
I was a young child. What was I supposed to do? Henry turns to Dan. I may have run away from you then, but I won't run away you this time. Henry runs away. He turns back and shouts, I mean, I'm running away, but I'll be back with good grammar.
I'm not scared of you.
You should be. External, a greasy diner later that day. Henry and the Rock walk around searching for something. I'm sure I left my good grammar somewhere around here.
Are you sure? It doesn't seem like an odd place to keep a deadly good grammar.
You know nothing, the Rock Johnson.
We've been searching for ages. I really don't think they're here.
Suddenly, Dan appears holding a pair of good grammar.
Looking for something?
Crikey, Henry, he's got your good grammar.
Tell me something I don't know already.
The Earth's circumference in the equator is about 40,075 kilometers.
I know that already.
I don't like Harry Potter.
Dude.
While Dan is looking at the Rock with disgust, Henry lunges forward and grabs his deadly good grammar. He wields them triumphantly. Prepare to die, you tyrannical capsicum.
No, please. All I did was mocking a bunch of Twitter employees.
Cat enters unseen by any of the others. I cannot tolerate that kind of behavior. Those Twitter employees were defenseless. Well, now they have a defender, and that's me, Henry Cavill, defender of innocent Twitter employees.
Don't hurt me, please.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't use this good grammar on you right away.
Because, Henry, I am your father.
Henry,
Dun, dun, dun.
Henry looks stunned for a moment, but then collects himself. No, you're not.
Ah, well. Had to be worth a try.
Dan tries to grab the good grammar, but Henry dodges out of the way. Who's the daddy now? Huh? Unexpectedly, Dan slumps to the ground.
Did he just faint?
I think so. Well, that's disappointing. I was rather hoping for a more dramatic conclusion involving my deadly good grammar. Henry crouches over Dan's body.
Be careful, Henry. It could be a trick.
No, it's not a trick. It appears that, it would seem, Dan Andrews is dead.
What?
Yes, it appears that I scared him to death. The Rock claps his hands.
So your good grammar did save the day after all.
Cat steps forward.
Is it true? Did you kill the tyrannical bogan?
Cat, how long have you been? Cat puts her arm around Henry.
Long enough.
Then you saw it for yourself. I killed Dan Andrews.
Then the Twitter employees are safe?
It does seem that way. A crowd of vulnerable Twitter employees enter, looking relieved.
You are their hero.
The Twitter employees bow to Henry. There is no need to bow to me. I seek no worship. The knowledge that Dan Andrews will never be mocking Twitter employees ever again is enough for me.
You are humble as well as brave.
One of the Twitter employees passes Henry a mint condition Star Wars action figure.
I think they want you to have it. as a symbol of their gratitude.
I couldn't possibly. Well, if you insist. Henry takes a Star Wars action figure. Thank you. The Twitter employees bow their heads once more and leave. Henry turns to Kat. Does this mean you want me back?
Oh, Henry, of course I want you back.
Henry smiles for a few seconds, but then looks defiant. Well, you can't have me.
What?
You had no faith in me. You had to see me scare a bogan to death before you would believe in me. I don't want a lover like that.
But
please leave. I want to spend time with the one person who stayed with me through thick and thin. My best friend, The Rock. The Rock grins.
But
You heard the gentleman. Now be off with you. Skedaddle. Shoo.
Henry.
I'm sorry, Kat, but I think you should skedaddle. Kat leaves. The Rock turns to Henry.
Did you mean that? You know that I'm your best friend?
Of course you are. The two walk off arm in arm. Suddenly the Rock stops.
When I said I didn't like Harry Potter, you know I was just trying to distract the bogan, didn't you?
The end.
So I don't believe for any second that the random generator made that story.
No.
That was 100% Jamie wrote that himself.
No,
There's too many coincidentals in there for there not to be a Jamie Ryan written story.
No, you see, I used these suggestions very intentionally.
So you're saying you manipulated the
Yes.
answer? Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I did. I didn't random generate.
Oh, well.
All I was going to say is if there was a scene where Cavill and Kat Graham made out and were moving on to something, if there wasn't a line that stood in the corner masturbating, I would have been very disappointed.
I would imagine that's in there.
Chris, because if I wrote that, you know how it would have ended. It would have been Kat Graham and Henry Cavill walking off arm in arm.
Playing chess, yes, absolutely.
No, my other one was about them playing chess.
Outstanding.
Well, sort of, but it's too similar to the ones you guys did.
Well, I mean, it does seem to have the story thing does seem to have a
Very set,
very set. But let me read you I won't read the full thing, but let me read you a small excerpt of Kat Graham and the Three Wise Henry Cavills.
and if you the listeners, if you like what you hear, send us an email to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com, and maybe just maybe we will have a full reading. But we have to hear from you first.
Yes. Once upon a time, there was a hot girl called Kat Graham. She was on her way to see her brother, Jamie Graham Bryden, when she decided to take a shortcut through Greeton Woods. It wasn't long before Kat got lost. She looked around, but all she could see were trees. Nervously, she felt into her bag for her favorite toy, Ryan the Hippo. But Ryan the Hippo was nowhere to be found. Kat began to panic. She felt sure she had packed Ryan the Hippo. To make matters worse, she was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, she saw a wise Henry Cavill dressed in a blue t-shirt disappear into the trees. I'd imagine he's Donald Ducking this one, just the t-shirt. How odd, thought Kat. For want of anything better to do, she decided to follow the peculiarly dressed Henry Cavill. Perhaps it could tell her the way out of the forest. And I'm going to end it there.
Oh, teasing.
That's what we in the podcast industry call sizzle.
Because I can tell you it is as ridiculous as it is amazing, to the point where I need to have an author, a picture person, create this into a book, because I believe I could sell this story of the hot girl Kat Graham and the Three Wise Henry Cavills.
just picture Chris's words, Todd McFarlane's art.
Absolutely. And remember, the Henry Cavills are just wearing t-shirts. The thing didn't never specified pants of any kind.
Oh my.
So he is totally Donald Ducking that situation.
Wow.
But
yes,
I encourage all of our listeners to jump on and create their own stories and send them through.
yeah.
Please send us through your best Graham and Henry Cavill stories, and we would love to read them out. Scripts,
Definitely.
stories, poems.
Yeah,
But
100%.
the qualifying conditions that we will have is obviously very straightforward. We want to hear your Graham and Henry Cavill stories, romance,
Yes.
action, comedy. As long as those two are the lead protagonists, we'll gladly read them out for everyone to enjoy.
We might even act it out for them.
We might
Never
even
know.
act it out, absolutely.
So you can go to it's plot-generator.org.uk to do ones like we have done, or even better, create your own, and we would be happy to share them with the rest of the audience.
All I can think about is Donald ducking Henry Cavill now.
And send your artwork of Donald Duck Henry Cavill
to Ryan's email.
To my email address.
Yeah, to Ryan's
via Chris's email address. He just wants to verify it to make sure Ryan's getting the actual, the best quality
for science.
And Henry Cavill, if you're listening and you want to act this out, please send it directly to 0422. No. Oh man, that was a lot of fun though. I must say, like, I did it during my lunch break at work, and I could not stop laughing.
Yeah,
dead set. It was it was a really fun thing.
I mean, I can't even get through like. It's just so ridiculous. Like, it's literally just the most ridiculous thing in the universe.
Yeah.
And unlike you cheaters, I didn't even plan anything.
Hey, no, the generator, it said, say a villain. And I said tyrannical bogan, it said,
And I'm not gonna lie. I just wanted to put me and Henry Cavill in the most erect position as possible. As said the story.
Okay, you know what? With Ryan's, it made sense. Jamie's, he manipulated the system, whilst I just randomly typed things in and hit random generate like we were meant to.
Okay, sure. I just wanted to entertain people. Is that so wrong?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Speaking of that, have you watched the preview for Renfield?
No.
Oh, I saw that. That looked amazing.
With Nicolas Cage as Dracula?
Yeah, as Dracula. I think and in watching that, obviously it's Nicholas Hoult as well.
Yeah.
But in saying that, when you finally do get a full glimpse of Nick Cage in his Dracula goodness, I think he's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another kick-ass, that perfect role for Nick Cage.
Well, speaking of Kick-Ass, it's going to be the first time a Nicolas Cage movie has been in cinemas since Kick-Ass. So all of his straight to streaming lately. He hasn't had a movie in the. I showed Steph the trailer. We were looking it up today, and the last movie that he was in cinemas was Kick-Ass 2, which he was only briefly in. Because So there you go.
That's because Nick Cage is a fine actor and doesn't need fancy cinema to make his.
Not at all.
I mean, he's the man of the people. We get to all enjoy his acting, not just those who pay the $13 to $14 for a ticket, then popcorn, so about $45 for $45 for a ticket. Yeah. And I look forward to James Cameron's Fire Navi when that third film comes out.
And then, as Jamie said, followed by Water, Wind, Earth, Heart, Captain Planet.
Well, no, we've already had Earth, which is the Forest Navi. We've already had Water Navi. Now there's the Fire Navi. All we need now is the Wind Navi.
The Heart.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, clearly they're just going with the Avatar. So essentially the Wind Navi will be the final Navi. And then there'll be the Avatar, which has the Navi with all the powers.
No, and it'll be Avatar, Captain Planet.
Avatar, Captain Planet, absolutely.
Starring if Don Cheadle is not, I was just about to say, if Don Cheadle is not playing Captain Planet in the Avatar Navi, I'm not interested.
Oh no, it has to be Don Cheadle or no one.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that was a fun episode.
It most certainly was.
It certainly was. And as always, if you enjoy listening to our nonsense, please do like, subscribe, comment. We are most prevalent on Instagram. Where could they reach us, Jamie, if they want to send through some stories, be it true or fictional?
thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. Also, stories_podcast on Instagram. We do have a Facebook page, but we rarely post stuff on there. But ironically, one of our guests, Michael Centrone, he contacted us through there and asked if he could come on the show, and so we still respond there. So if you send a message there, we'll get it and we'll reply. As always, if you've got a story, send it to us. We want to read
And
it
if
out.
if you're an 18-year-old girl, send Jamie a PM on Instagram, and he'll make it work.
I'll forward it to Chris.
Yes, forward it to the married man. That's fantastic. Yes, that sounds like a plan.
I just thought, you'd want to, verify all these things, because you seem to be that involved in my life. I know we've been friends for like over 30 years. I just, you're like the one that has to check everything.
Look, if
for
you want me
me
to do some clear due diligence and date the girl for several months, and then then come back with a report, sure. Look, I'll tell my wife it's for science.
Yeah. I mean,
It's for science.
It's for science. And then I'll come back. Jamie says, Jamie, based upon I've rated her based on a number of different factors, and but based upon my scoring, I believe she's quite she's dateable for you, Jamie. Here's my report.
Based upon my scoring, I'm now Mormon and have taken a second wife.
That's not as fun as you think, because actually they have to, if they want a second wife, they have to buy a second home.
Oh.
Like,
I mean, that's why there's no Mormons in Sydney, because who could afford a second home? I mean, like,
yeah, exactly.
So if we want to be a Mormon, I have to move to Queensland.
No. You just need to buy a house in Queensland.
Yeah, but then,
and then you can have one wife there. Yeah.
Interesting. Interstate wives.
You can have one per state.
There's a reality show in that for sure.
I'm envisioning. Yeah, I'm envisioning something there with interstate wives, where one guy has 5 wives in the different states and they don't know about each other.
Yeah. That's a good plot.
I'd probably watch that.
No, you'd watch that for sure. You'd watch the shit out of that to see if there's any crossover. Because eventually, there's going to be some level of crossover and something's going to fuck up on him. You're basically just watching. You are just watching a car like spinning down an icy road, going like, oh shit, his New South Wales wife's pregnant, and they have their their ultrasound, but his Queensland's wife's daughter's got the dance recital on the same night. Oh shit!
Yeah, and then you'd have one where his wife's on a business trip in the same town where the other wife is,
shit.
And they brush past each other in the.
And
he has to do the awkward. He has to do the awkward. Hide the wife. Hide the one wife from another wife because she walked past the window.
Oh, absolutely. Look again.
Hijinks ensue.
I'm surprised this isn't already a show because it sounds amazing. Like,
well, we could sell this.
Okay, copyrighted to stories, the true and the fictional.
Well, the good thing about Australia is it has to be written down or recorded, and that's it. That's copyright, instant copyright.
Done.
Well, there you go. We're pals, dibs.
Yeah, dibs. But we could also sell it to Channel 10 because they'd lap that up.
Oh, they would love that. They need programming. So yeah, sure.
No one watches stuff owned by CNN anymore.
No.
No one watches the project.
Of course not.
The project. The cast of the project's leaving. They're all leaving.
Yeah.
Sinking ship. Take us out on a happy note, Chris. Take us out on a happy note.
Remember, whether you're born tall, short, whether you're born with great ability, no ability, always remember, Jamie's bald and you're not. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
And I bid you adieu.
Adieu.
I was going to say something way worse, but then I paused midstream.
Well, you better check your prostate then.